Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I just tried to record through this whole thing and totally botched the footage. I accidentally hit record to turn off a previous recording, so we're gonna try this again real fast. So today is Sunday the 16th. This is the last day of the Harley 120th anniversary, and so I just want to kind of talk about my experience and how awesome it's been just being from this area. You just can't believe, you know, that an area that you live in attracts so many people from so many different parts of the world. I mean, there's towns from here to Kenosha, and Kenosha is just 20 minutes east of me, so we'll get to that in a second. But you know, there's towns between here and there that, as I was riding out on Friday, again, the rally started on Thursday on the 13th, but I really didn't get to partake in anything until Friday. So on Friday, I had a little bit of work to do that morning, and I cut out probably around 10 o'clock to head out to Kenosha, which is where Adam Sandoval was doing his last stop for the Great American Convoy. And so if you're not familiar with Adam Sandoval or what he's been doing with the Great American Convoy, so for the last few months, I don't know exactly how, I think he started in April. He has been traveling to 120 different Harley-Davidson dealerships to raise money for the Wounded Warrior Project. I think his goal, I'm almost positive, it was $500,000, so it was $500,000. He ended up raising $600,000. So on Friday, I didn't know if I was gonna have the opportunity to actually get out to Ukes, Harley-Davidson, which was his last stop, but things worked out in my favor and I was able to make my way out there. So I got out there at about 10:30 on Friday, and again, just every hotel you pass, every place that, you know, as somebody who lives around here, you're so familiar with, just seeing it just packed full with people and from all over the place. Every state, every country. There's people up here from Mexico, from Brazil, people from Japan, people from Australia, just nuts. I mean, everything has been packed, and it's just been so fantastic. And believe it or not, the weather has held up. There was a little bit of rain on Thursday, which kind of worried me, but on Friday it was hot. Saturday, yesterday was hot, and then today, I mean, the weather is phenomenal. So the people who are up at the 120th today are having a good time with that. So anyway, I caught up over there. I headed over to Kenosha, to Ukes Harley-Davidson, and it was just insane. It was just packed, just crazy packed. And of course, there were people there that were just there to be at the dealership to kind of partake in the festivities. And then there were the people that were there for Adam Sandoval's convoy. And so I was a mix of both. I wanted to kind of just hang out at Ukes before I got myself up into Milwaukee, but also I knew he was coming, and you know, the wife gave me the thumbs up to, like, you know what, go have a day and go just, you know, go do what you want to do and go see the people you want to see. So I got out there maybe a half hour before the convoy showed up, and it was surreal. I was standing outside the dealership just along the main frontage road there as all of them came through, and of course Adam comes through on his, you know, on the 120th anniversary road glide that he was riding. He's got the GoPro up in the air and he's recording everything as he goes. So that video hasn't quite hit yet, but I'm sure it will. And so I'll be curious to see if I find a place inside that video as one of the onlookers. So after he got there, I mean, just like any event where you've got a bunch of people kind of waiting to see somebody, everybody kind of migrated inside, and it took some time for him to get where he needed to go. I'm sure he was talking to people the whole time and along the way. And so I went back inside, and it was standing room only. It was insane, the amount of people that was in there. And again, as somebody who's bought a motorcycle from Ukes, and even at points in the year when maybe there's not a lot of people buying motorcycles, like, I've been the only person in that dealership, you know, other than the staff. So there's been times where, you know, it was all me. I'm buying the shirts or buying the bike or whatever, and to see it the way it was, with just the sheer amount of people that were all there to experience this, just to be in this space with them, it was just incredible. So Adam wasn't quite out yet, but I kind of mingled around. I got to talking to some people, and cool things happened, you know, this whole trip. And what's unbelievable about this whole anniversary has been the amount of YouTubers that I got to meet. So while I was there, I got to meet Ryan from Full Throttle Hog. If you don't already subscribe to that guy, you totally should. He does awesome road trip content. He has awesome cinematography. And I had been watching him kind of like try to catch up to Adam Sandoval and the Convoy in his videos, and then all of a sudden I'm standing there, and it seems like every YouTuber that I finally ran into and met, it was like just a coincidence that we happened to be like kind of within the same square feet, 5 square feet or whatever. So I'm standing there, and all of a sudden I look over and I see this dude, and he's got a patch on the back of his leather vest, and it says Full Throttle Hog, and I'm like, shit, I know that name. I'm watching that right now. Like, is that the guy? And sure enough, he turns around and I get one look at his face, and I'm like, that's him. And so I stood there like a creeper, because I'm a total fangirl when it comes to the YouTube people that I watch. And it was just like, you know, meeting anybody that you like, a famous person. I mean, not that they have a lot of fame, but they're famous to me, and I watch them all the time and I love their content. And so kind of standing there fangirling, he's talking to some other people, and finally he cuts free of them and he looks over at me, and I guess he could probably tell that I was, you know, creeping on him or whatever. And he came over and he's like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, Ryan? And he's like, yeah, nice to meet you. What's your name? And, you know, we kind of got into a dialogue and just got to talk to him about his trip, which was fantastic. Just kind of going back to the roots of just talking about motorcycle stuff and content and YouTube. And I did a little bit for him, because I had told him that, you know, hey, I'm a 10-year Air Force veteran. He's like, hey man, you want to do a little thing to thank Adam for everything he's done or what? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so if you subscribe to his channel, you might see me in his video. You might not. I don't know how he's going to edit that and whether he's going to put it in or not. But it was so cool to get to meet him, and it was just kind of on the fly. We were all in there, all these people, and there he was, and I went and spoke with him. And long story short, on Ukes though, I didn't actually get to meet Adam. It was just packed. I mean, the line was just insanely long, and I had other places to be and other things to do, but from what I understand, you know, he was able to get the convoy back up and running, and they got up to Milwaukee, and they delivered the money to the Wounded Warrior Project, and he also gave his bike away that night. So super cool stuff. So again, we're talking Friday, so this is the 14th that I was over there. I then headed up to House of Harley Davidson, and if you're familiar with the area, I mean, they put on a great show. They had tons of live artists, they had tons of booths, tons of stuff for sale, parts for your bike. I mean, you could do whatever you want. You could get a new exhaust, you could, you know, just like Sturgis or any other rally you've been to. So they had all that stuff. Really great experience up there. While I was at House of Harley, this was another crazy, I met the 2 Lane Life guys, another YouTuber, YouTube channel. I'm not sure if, you know, if you don't subscribe to them, subscribe to them. They do a lot of just lifestyle, homebrew, adventure, touring, motorcycle stuff. They do a lot of road trips, and they've got a guy on their team that does all their filming, and they stop and they talk to the camera, and they kind of give you they bring their wives out. So it's just good, wholesome content for the Harley Davidson world. They do a great job, and they're just as cool in person as you could imagine they are from their videos. Very wholesome, very down to earth, and you know, I was drinking a beer, they were drinking a beer, and we talked about drinking beer. So it was just awesome. And one of the guys from 2 Lane Life is actually the father to Lance, who is owner-operator of Thrash and Supply. So if you've got any Thrashing parts on your bike or you're interested in their content, Lance is the son of one of the guys from 2 Lane Life. So I did kind of poke him a little bit, and I was like, hey man, where's the son at? What's he doing? And he's like, oh, he's out riding and doing some footage and this, that, and the other. So I didn't quite get to meet them, but overall, Friday was fantastic. I had to cut out about 4 o'clock just because, again, I'm from the area. I'm not on a road trip away from my family. I've got responsibilities. Had to come home, hang out with the kids, get time with the family, because again, it's the weekend. And so I did that. However, on Saturday, so yesterday, the wife joined in with me, and we went up to the 120th again, and we went up with another group. So my best friend and his wife were on their bike, and we all rode up there. And we went to the Harley Davidson Museum, and I'll tell you, that's the heart of this whole thing. There's a lot of places you can go. There's a lot of interesting things to see, dealerships that are just going above and beyond for the customer base. But truly, the Harley Davidson Museum was just fantastic. I mean, the amount of people that were there, and we got there just in time. You know, it's one of those things where people are lining up, there's tons of bikes, there's people all over the place, and we got there just as everybody was kind of getting there and parking, so there was no issue getting in, anything like that. Got some beers, hung out, went and saw, you know, Harley Davidson has their showcase of all their new motorcycles. All the new CVOs are there that you can sit on and have a good time just playing around with. Tons of merch, tons of vendors, tons of really expensive food, you know, a burger for like $15, because why not? And then, oh, by the way, you're gonna get charged $8 for the fries as a side too. So, but you know, that's just the way it is. So we went and had some fun, and had some beers, and just chatted and walked around and saw the cool things that they had to offer. And at probably the coolest part of that whole day was they had a bunch of bikes on display that different builders had built, and two of the bikes were from Thrashin. So if you followed that bike build series, they built 2 lowrider STs, one that was fully carbon fiber, and then the second being like more of an American theme. So it's red, white, and blue, and it's painted half and half. Like on one side it's red, one side it's blue, and then there's like a white stripe going down the middle. Super sick. And as I'm sitting there like taking pictures of these bikes, because I'm like, holy shit, I see the bikes in person, like I've been watching these bikes get built, this is super awesome. Across from me is John from Cycle Fanatics, and that's a channel that I watch like religiously. So, you know, as I saw him across the way from me, he had his camera equipment and he was doing his thing, and I was completely speechless. Like I forgot the guy's name, and I like went to go talk, and I was like, oh wait, don't make a fool of yourself here. So I paused, and I was like, John, and he's like, hey, how's it going, buddy? And you know, we got to talking, and I introduced myself and how I'm a longtime fan. And so I got to meet with him, but I also got to meet Robert Simmons from Be the Boss of Your Own Motorcycle. And between the two of those guys, I mean, just as humble as you could imagine them being. Like, just great, just awesome conversation about motorcycles, about the anniversary, what they're doing here. We talked about their CVO shoot with Harley Davidson, and I mean, I wish I could have spent more time with those guys, but you know, they're on a schedule, and I'm sure they have a lot of people trying to talk to them. So I just kind of did my best to not fangirl too much and be too nervous about it, but we talked about a lot of good stuff. And I mean, they got to meet my wife, Jess, and it was just awesome. And I know there were a lot more YouTubers out there, a lot of really cool people that I wanted to meet, but ultimately I'm happy with who I got to meet, and just the amount of people and the amount of interest that's been stirred this weekend. So I won't babble on too much longer. We did try to go to Veterans Park. We got booted out. I didn't realize it was a ticketed event, which now makes sense, you know, considering they had 2 live bands there, and that's where they were jamming out and stuff like that. So yeah, we didn't spend too much time there. I mean, we did like a 4 or 5 hour day, and that was about it. And just saw everything, took it all in, and got to meet those people, and that's all I could have asked for. So again, the fact that all these people are here when I live here, and I go to the Harley Davidson Museum regularly, and the fact that I go there now and there's just, the world is there. It's just crazy. So anyway, I'm gonna end the video on a couple modifications that I've made to the Lowrider ST. I try to do some video stuff on this, on the installs, but like, you know what, I'm not good at installs as it is, and I sweat a lot, and I swear a lot, and nothing ever seems to work out in my favor. So I'd rather just fight my own battles off camera before I get it on the bike, and then you guys can see it after the fact. So anyway, last video I did with you, I'm pretty sure I already went over the Clockworks flare windshield. This is the 10-inch, super dope, totally does what it's supposed to do. And I adjusted the mirrors here to kind of bring them closer into the handlebar, and now I can do full lock without these touching. It's not ideal because the way these are set up now makes it very difficult to see fully behind me, but it's good enough, it'll work. Other thing I did before the rally was I replaced the other flow floorboards that I had, which were more like just this peg area. I replaced those with the full floorboards. I've always liked the floorboards better. And then I went ahead and got a full set of flow shift lever, brake lever, floorboards, and then I also got, instead of the shorty levers that I had, I went with the long levers. What I noticed is with the shorties, I was just shifting like garbage. I don't know, it just felt so weird. I can't really describe it too well, but I went to the full length levers here, and I'm really happy with them, and they've done, they feel great, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. And then the bigger thing here is, yeah, so we've got a freaking tour pack on the old girl now. And so now I am partially living my dream of all roads lead to Ultra. So I've got the mini Ultra here. And so if you watch Holy Shift, he had done a video on the tour pack from Advanblack. I've been wanting one ever since Advanblack came out and confirmed that they were making one that would fit the Lowrider ST specifically. And here she is. I mean, just looks phenomenal. I went not with the Razor, but with the chopped. So I didn't do full size, I didn't do Razor, I went right in the middle. And I think it looks perfectly balanced between that and then the front of the bike. So yeah, I mean, she did great up there. And then the wife rode with me again yesterday to the 120th anniversary, and she much prefers having the old tour pack here. Let's see if it's open. It is. I did not buy the liner yet. We're working on it. That's going to be the next thing we're going to do. They're like 170 bucks. So at first I was like, oh, I could probably do without, because, you know, again, $170 just for a piece of cloth to go in there. But after I got it and I noticed, you know, things bumping around in the back, I'm like, you know what, I could probably spend the money and just, it makes sense to buy it. So anyway, yeah, so full stage one, I think I already did the video on that. Maybe I didn't. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I record some footage and then I never use it, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Full stage one, I got the S&S Stealth air cleaner there. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the full length name of the air cleaner off the top of my head, but yeah, it's super awesome. Plenty of breathing room on that guy. PV3 tuner. I'm sorry, the exhaust is disgusting right now between some of the rain that I've ridden through and all that fun stuff. But yep, so full stage one. And then again, we've got the flow. And I'm sorry about the mismatch here. These are still the old Joker machine boards. Eventually we'll get those swapped out as well. But so far so good. Loving the windshield, love the new flow kit, and the old tour pack is as old man as I need to get. So that's it for me, guys. I really appreciate you watching, and if you got to the 120th, let me know what you thought, and if you got to meet any cool YouTubers. If you're a YouTuber yourself and you got to get some cool footage, let me know that as well. So anyways, with that, I'm out. You guys take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.